What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of NBA Season Previews 2024-2025 on the Vendetta Sports Media YouTube channel. Jerry Walker alongside me today is Matt Hanifan. Matt, how are you doing today before we hop into this mighty Orlando Magic team?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Media day is next week. Training camp is next week. Um, I'm hungry for hoops. Season begins in less than a month. Um, Preseason starts up pretty quickly as well. I'm very excited for this season. I'm ready for some basketball again. I know we got some glimpse of it with the Olympics, some glimpse of it with Summer League. But now we're getting to the stuff that really matters. Not that the Olympics don't matter, but the stuff that really matters in the sense that like the NBA season's about to start. I'm ready. I'm just ready for these games to begin, man. Fast forward to October 22nd.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited. I think it's going to be a very, very fun season. Going to be a very interesting season for certain teams, and I think one of those teams is the Orlando Magic because last season they honestly, I think, surprised a lot of people. The year before, the Miami Heat make the finals. Atlanta had been playing pretty well, but it was the Orlando Magic who won that Southeast Division with a record of 47-35. Just edged out your Heat for that. Finished with a 5 seed in the East, which meant they had to play Cleveland in the first round, ultimately losing in Game 7, which I'm pretty sure they were kind of killed in that Game 7. Yeah, lost by 22. So rough end of the season. But what did you think of last year and kind of some of their relatively quiet offseason?
I thought. I mean, last year they've improved every single year under Jamal Mosley. At least in my opinion, I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. I think he's probably, at least in my head, I'd have to do it myself. I'd probably have him as like a top 10 coach.
Okay.
The thing with Orlando that was their detriment last year's offensively, specifically the shooting. Like this team just hasn't been able to generate good offense, and they haven't been able to shoot. Franz Wagner had a really bad shooting season, to say the least. He was very unreliable down the stretch, even though I do think he's a really, really, really good player. They still won 47 games despite being one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league. They had the 7th worst percentage. They had the 6th worst three-point rate, which that means they don't take many threes, and when they do take them, they don't make them. And that's definitely a struggle in the modern NBA, where the best teams typically, like, they're obviously efficient three-point shooting teams, but they also take a decent amount of them too, and that just wasn't the case with Orlando. They did surprise me in the sense that, like, Wendell Carter Jr. was injured for a portion of the season. Mo Wagner and Goga Bitadze stepped up. Jalen Suggs obviously took a leap. We saw like somewhat. I mean, I know he didn't play the entire season, but somewhat of a healthy-ish season, or one of the healthier seasons that we've seen from Markelle Fultz, at least. I mean, I know he only played half the season last year, but it feels like that was one of his better seasons that he's had in recent memory. This is just a team that again, they just continued to gel, and they took another leap last season. I think they had a 12-win bump, a 13-win bump, something of that ilk. Obviously, a lot of that has to do with how good Banchero was, how good Suggs was, so on and so forth. But this team did have, like, I wouldn't necessarily label it as a quiet offseason, just in the sense that they got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
Yeah.
3 years, $66 million really helps with that. The shooting, the spacing, something that they desperately need. I know they were in, I guess, rumors or whatever the case was. They were about making like a big move. I don't think KCP is a big move specifically, but he's definitely one that's an important move, and that it's a needed move. They did draft Tristan da Silva, who people who know me and talk to me about this stuff, Tristan da Silva was one of my favorite prospects in the class. I just think he's a winning basketball player. 39% his last 3 years at Colorado. 6'8", 6'9", very heady player, very smart player. Maybe not the quickest player, and maybe not the strongest player, but he's someone who is a great team defender, great with the ball in his hands, tight handle, good playmaker, very good shooter, quick release, can move off the ball, can do really almost everything well on a basketball court, even though he is, 22, 23 years old. But he was one of my favorite prospects in the draft, and the fact that Orlando got him, I think that could work wonders. I know they have a pretty solidified forward rotation there with Banchero, with Wagner. Gary Harris is in that mold. Jonathan Isaac just signed an extension. Like, they have guys over there, but I do think if you're just looking for shooting and looking for what they need, I thought De Silva was a home run pick. And so I think those two moves specifically really stood out for me this offseason. I think this team could make I know we'll get to it. I think this team can make yet another leap in 2025.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was, I guess it was quiet in terms of the number of transactions we have, especially since one of the last teams we did a preview on was the Indiana Pacers, who they didn't bring in a bunch, but re-signed a bunch. Some of these other teams have re-signed and brought in a bunch of players. So make sure you guys, side note, do go check out all of our other previews, see our thoughts on those kind of teams. But KCP, superb in Denver, was part of the reason they won a ring in 2 seasons ago. Great pickup by them. He's a veteran leader. Him and Gary Harris there now are the two old guys. I guess Corey Joseph, but I don't know how much he'll play this season. For those who are the old guys, and Gary Harris is 30, KCP's 31, this is a very, very young team. You look at the starting five. Jalen Suggs is 23. Franz Wagner is 23. Paolo Banchero is 21. Wendell Carter's, 25, 26. So very young starting lineup, and I think that youth gives them a huge boost for not just this year, but a couple years down the line. Don't know if I have a complete X factor at the moment, but I think it is. How does the youth hold up? Are they going to feel that pressure? I know it's going to be Paolo's second season.
Third
season already. Wow. So, there you go. Oh, it was Jalen Suggs they drafted last year, wasn't it?
No, it was Suggs was drafted a few years ago. It was Jet Howard and someone else.
Oh, Anthony Black.
Oh, yeah, Anthony Black. Yeah, their second year. But seeing what they can do, I guess, is another thing, is the leap off there, and how KCP fits in with that shooting aspect. Is, can they turn that around, and can he help them turn it around? Do you have an X factor specifically for this team? My X factor was Isaac, just because he's been a guy who, for most of his career, has been perpetually hurt.
Yeah.
In some fashion. And when he's on the floor, he's improved his 3-point shooting, but when he's on the floor, he's one of the better defenders in the entire league. Just because of what he can, very good instincts. He's very, very lengthy. And so I think, if you can get him healthy for, I'm not even going to say a full season. I'm just going to say 55. I mean, he played, I think, 58 games last year, which was one of his healthiest seasons. But if he can play maybe 55, 60 games again, then I think that obviously helps on the defensive end, which, again, they were one of the best defensive teams in the entire league last year. And so obviously that's not something that they're going to struggle with if he's on the floor for that amount of time. But I think with his improved 3-point shooting, I think that really helps. If I'm looking at someone else, I'd probably say KCP, if I'm being completely honest. Just in the sense that, if he's knocking down, he's a high volume 3-point shooter, and he's shot around 41% last year. If he can be a guy who can replicate that in this kind of context, where I know the spacing isn't great, then you're really cooking with something here, even though you're going to need more than just him. You're going to need Franz to have a better shooting season after last year, which last year was disastrous for him, especially at the end of the season. Banchero's been a guy who he can shoot to some extent, but the thing with him is that he takes a lot of inefficient shots. He takes a lot of contested twos, and sometimes he'll knock them down, sometimes he won't. He can generate some rim pressure, but he's not as good at generating rim pressure as I think Franz is. But at the same time, if he's able to develop a consistent 3-point shot, not even just in the low 30s, but if you can just get to 36-ish%, I think that's fine. Same with Franz. If he can get to if he can get back to like where he was, which I think was around like 34, 35%, something like that, I think that's fine. Like you just need this team. And like obviously we're heading into this new season. I'm sure teams are going to start playing off of Franz. I'm sure they're going to start pinching the paint whenever Banchero has the ball. And that's gonna open up opportunity for a guy like KCP, for a guy like Tristan Da Silva, for a guy like Gary Harris, just to come in and knock down shots and make it open up the floor just a little bit for those two guys specifically. Because and the same thing with Suggs too. Like he can be another guy who can come in and knock down shots. He was around I think 40% last year, 38, 39%, even though he was pretty bad in the postseason. If he can get on a heater, like they have guys who can come in and knock down shots, but I think they just need more consistency just to open up the floor for those other guys. So I think Isaac's my X factor right now, and he's another guy whose 3-point shot I think has improved. It may not be, the volume may not be exactly where you want it to be yet, but I think he's definitely improved. And if he can just stay healthy, and if the rest of these guys can just stay healthy, and they can engineer some sort of conducive offense and with good spacing and whatnot, or better spacing, then I think this team could really be set up for success in 2025 in this kind of really good middle of the Eastern Conference.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, just going off the 3-point shooting percentages, you look at the guy who led them in 3-point shooting last year, Joe Ingles, at 43.5. He's gone. The guy who technically, while playing significantly less minutes in games, he was number 4 on it, was Admiral Schofield. He shot 37.5% from 3. He's gone as well. Someone else is going to have to start stepping up, because it's not going to carry it if you have guys just shooting. Not that 39% from 3 is bad, but in this era of the NBA, you have to be able to knock down more consistently from everyone. And that's a big thing that I'm looking for here as well. And just want to say one other player I want to see how he does this year, because last year he played the most games in a season in his NBA career, all off the bench, where he kind of was a starter for a year and a half. But Cole Anthony only averaged 11.6 last year. I want to know if he's going to be able to turn that around and kind of keep playing a little bit better this year behind Suggs, and lead that second unit with Gary Harris and company.
Yeah, I mean, he would be the guy to do it, to come in and just get like ball handling responsibility. I know Fultz is still a free agent, so that opens up just even more runway for him to create. So yeah, no, he's definitely a guy that I would look for as well, in terms of like a guy who, again, can run that bench unit for 15, 20, 25 minutes a night, and you're not going to ask too much from him outside of putting the ball in the bucket and initiating offense.
Yeah, not at all. But I know, like, we talked X factors, we talked a lot of the players specific stuff. What are you looking for, or what do you expect of this team as a unit this year? What do you think they're going to finish record wise? What seed? I know you said earlier that you think they can make it to the playoffs. Does that what do you think this season looks like for them?
Yeah, no, I think this is a surefire playoff team. I mean, assuming everyone stays healthy. I actually have them right now as a 3 seed.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I have it right now in order. This is pending to change, but I have Boston, New York, Orlando, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Indiana as my 1 through 6.
Wow.
I really do think that Orlando can make. I think they can get to 50 wins. Not say like I expect that from them, but like I definitely think they can get to that 50 win threshold as the 3 seed, especially if Paolo and Franz continue. I mean, I know again Franz took a little bit of a step back from like a shooting perspective last year, but if both those guys can continue to ascend as players, in addition to Jalen Suggs, in addition to Wendell Carter Jr., in addition to some of these other guys that we mentioned, if Tristan Da Silva comes in, is an impactful rookie. If KCP comes in and shoots the lights out, like this is going to be a really good team, and this is going to be a tough out in the playoffs. I don't know how far they get. I do genuinely think, depending on how it shakes up, I do genuinely think this team can make conference finals.
Okay.
But
wow.
I don't know. You got to go through. I mean, they went through heartbreak a little bit last year in the first round, losing to Cleveland in 7. You have to go through a heartbreak probably again to at least get over the top. And I don't know if that's going to come in the second round. That may come in the first round. I don't know. Just this team is so young.
And that's the thing. They are very young, and I don't think they're building necessarily for right now. I think they still have a few years of growth to come. And the 3 seed, if they can go out and get that this year, is a huge step in that direction of being a legitimate title contender in the Eastern Conference. And I can see it. I have them moving up just 1 spot over Cleveland, but the 50 wins is not out of the picture by any means. I think they're going to finish around that 50-win spot again. Because last year, 50 wins was the 2 seed. Yeah. I do agree with you as well. I think they could get a playoff series win. I think they would lose against both the Knicks and the Celtics if they come up against them. So I'm assuming I have them as the 1 and 2. So I think Orlando could win a playoff series. The way I have it is I have them moving up to the 4 and Indiana moving up to 5. So that's kind of a spicy series that I would love to see in the playoffs. But I can see them winning a series and then going out in the second round. But
again, if they can get to April healthy, they can get to May healthy, they're going to be a pain in the ass. The offense may be hard to watch at times. I'm expecting it to be a little bit better this year, but that team's going to be a pain in the ass just because of their functional size, their length, how connected they are despite being this young of a team. Like, again, I think Jamal's done a really good job with this group. And obviously you need Franz to be better in the postseason. You're going to need Paolo to take another leap in the postseason to get where you want to go. But yeah, I don't think this team wins the title yet. I don't think they're not. That's not their goal this season. Their goal is just to continue steady improvement and hopefully make a run. And if they do, awesome. If they don't, you have 2 of the best young players in the entire league on your roster, especially Paolo.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be a very, very, very fun season. I don't know if that was your final thoughts, or if you have any other final thoughts before we kind of wrap this one up, because Orlando might be magic season for you. So
actually, no, I have one final thought. I hate how this team may be the best team in the state of Florida. Not that I give a fuck about the Magic, but at the same time,
no, I get it.
I don't like that. They were always the little brother. I mean, they still are the little brother. To Miami, but
times might be changing, at least for the
foreseeable. We'll get back at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll get back.
There we have it, folks. That's why I'm kind of surprised you had him so high. Is that maybe it's those extra wins from playing the Heat 4 times a year?
Oh no,
nah. But thank you guys for
opening night. We'll see on opening night.
Oh, is that who you guys open?
Yep.
Oh, that
in Miami.
We keep seeing in the NHL playoffs, and sorry, this is my final thought on this, but we see in the NHL, we keep seeing Florida playing Tampa. Give me an Orlando Magic Miami Heat playoff series.
Oh my God, that's some of the worst offensive basketball you guys are about to see.
It's going to be disgusting.
Ever. It's going to be awful.
I would love it.
Games are going to be like how they were in the 90s, where it's going to be like 72 to 71 or some shit like that. Like, no, that worst basketball y'all ever see ever.
Or it's just great defensive basketball.
That plays into it.
You can look at it one way or another.
That plays into it.
But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. From Jerry and from Matt, make sure you guys click that subscribe button and like this video so you get to see all of our other NBA short videos coming out in our NBA team previews. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.